Hey guys, I'm going to record a second video today just because I want to get onto something a little bit happier. So I guess I should share a little bit of background information. Um, I think in one of my very first videos I said that I was diagnosed with ME in like 2014 maybe, so last year. But that actually wasn't an official diagnosis. I had just been conversing with my local general practitioner type doctor, and we just kind of agreed like, hey, this is definitely an option, but there was a ton of super expensive testing that needed to be done, and well, maybe it was 2013, because then my mom said, or I guess both my parents said, that we should wait until the next year's insurance to do it so that it would, transfer into a separate, like, I don't know. I don't really know how it works, honestly. But then, so the next year was supposed to be last year, but then I never went because my senior year of high school, I dropped down to a part-time student. I was only taking, I think, 3 classes, and they were really easy classes. Actually, 4 classes. 2 of them were music. I was in band and orchestra, so those were really simple, and my mind functions creatively, so it wasn't too much energy for me. And then I took a psychology class, which was also pretty easy because that's something I'm interested in, and it wasn't a very intensive class. And then I honestly don't remember what else. So I had my chronic fatigue controlled pretty well my senior year. I mean, I would go back and forth a lot, and I definitely need recovery time over the weekends, and I'd take naps and stuff like that, so I didn't bother with it then. And then at the end of the year last year, when I was prepping for finals and stuff like that, and then at the beginning of the summer when I started working a little bit more, I got really, really bad. I was feeling awful all the time. And then sort of through the summer, I was still working quite a bit actually, just part-time though. And I got kind of better there. I recovered a bit, and then at the beginning of the school year now, I have had a horrible time because it's completely picking up my life, moving it somewhere else, putting it down, and I just have to relearn everything. And then at the same time, I'm going to school, so I'm learning more things. And learning, especially if it's not in the way that your brain normally functions, it takes up a lot of energy. So I have a list here that I'm bringing to the doctor, the same doctor that I had talked to before, I think in 2 weeks. So I'm going to go and talk to him and share my experience. I've been, for the last few days, creating a list of my more major symptoms, and sorry, my brain is not functioning correctly. I'm having to stop like every half a sentence to think of what I'm trying to say next. And I don't even remember what I was just saying. Oh yeah, I'm going to go in and talk to that doctor again, and he's going to get like more than a general diagnosis. It's going to be an actual like official diagnosis, but then I also want him to recommend me to someone who is a specialist with chronic fatigue syndrome, so I can get some better answers, I guess, because he's just a regular family doctor, so he doesn't really know that much. But as long as I get at least a diagnosis, or at least he's inclined to think that I have it after going in for like an official appointment, then I can get a recommendation no matter what. And if it's not diagnosed yet, then I can be diagnosed, or I guess the opposite of diagnosed, if they figure out that I have something else. Then when I see the specialist, I mean. So I guess, well, I have like a tiny timeline. It's kind of a lot of what I just explained, but it's more detailed at the beginning. So I first got ME, or chronic fatigue syndrome, following getting a viral type infection in the fall of 2012. So that's 3 years ago. That's a long time. That's a lot of my life kind of wasted. A friend had some weird thing, and she went to the doctor, and they did a mono test and some other tests. It's a viral infection similar to mono, but it wasn't mono exactly. So that's how that went. And sorry. I'm really lost. Oh, and we both missed a lot of school because she gave it to me like 2 weeks, I think, after she started showing symptoms. So then she was sick for 2 weeks, and then I was sick for 2 weeks. We overlapped for 2 weeks. So she was sick for 2 weeks, then we were both sick for 2 weeks, and then I never got better. And I could never actually even pinpoint when the viral infection ended. I just know that I missed so much school. I missed like nearly 2 weeks of school straight, and maybe attending like 1 or 2 days within that time. And there was a lot of days when I went to school, and before I even got to class, I just went to the front office and said, I cannot do this. I need to go home. I'm sorry. And then after that, I was very, very on and off about being able to go to school. And then I kind of got a little bit better, and I was able to attend classes and study and that for quite a while, and then I recovered quite a bit over the summer too. And then the next year, my junior year, was so bad. I missed so much school. I got put on academic probation, which means, in my school specifically, that the teachers choose if you get credit for the class, because you've missed so much school that even if you get a good grade, you haven't been there for enough classes, so they can decide to fail you if they want. But none of my teachers did that. They knew I was going through something, and I think it wasn't until the end, maybe, of my junior year that I even knew what chronic fatigue syndrome was. So I just kept thinking that I was sick a lot, like just kept getting repeated illnesses somehow. And then my senior year, as I said, I dropped down to a part-time student, which was totally okay for me credit-wise because I took a pretty heavy class schedule both my freshman and sophomore years, and my junior year, it wasn't like an overflowing schedule, but it was still like a full-time regular schedule, and I took all of the classes that were required ahead of time. So then my senior year, I just got to take whatever I want, easy classes, and I did okay. And then by the end of the school year, like I said before, I was worse, and then I recovered over the summer, but it's getting really bad now. So that's why I decided to schedule an appointment to get diagnosed and referred to see a specialist. I think I'm going to have to cut it off now, and I'll make another video about my symptoms specifically. See ya!